So I want to welcome Floyd Stokes, who is the founder of the American Literacy Corporation and a dear friend of mine, who Bethel is going to be hosting for their annual Day of Reading in honor of Dr. King's birthday. We're talking about the meaning of this day this year in particular, and I wanted to ask you, Floyd. What is the teaching of Dr. Martin Luther King that stands out most to you? What is ringing in your ears these days?
Thank you for having me, Rabbi. I appreciate this opportunity. What stands out to me is, Martin Luther King, one of his quote states, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And we need to show compassion towards our neighbors in this day and time where things are very challenging and there's uncertainty. But in the end, we stand together. Us standing together is the best solution for us to get through.
Yeah, absolutely. It means so much to me to have you as a friend and ally in this community and to do this work together. I was thinking about this quote, listening back to the Reverend Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech. This quote stood out to me especially. He says, with this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform from the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. And that just meant a lot to me, thinking about the mountain of despair and the small stone of hope. That in these days there can be so many problems and such jangling discord in our nation that it can feel hard to maintain hope. But I think one of the Reverend Dr. King's greatest strengths as a leader was his faith, his belief that something good would come all of all of this, that it would, there would be justice one day. And so that just gave me a lot of hope reading that back.
Yeah, and that's a really powerful section in the speech. And as I think about, the faith, and I think with Martin Luther King, because of his faith and because, you know, he was so assured of his faith, he was able to bring folks and work with folks from other faiths as well. The Jewish community with, Rabbi Heschel. We have a long history of working together. In Philadelphia, Mississippi with, Andrew Goodman and Michael Swarner, being murdered with James Chaney. That there's no greater sacrifice than to give your life for a cause. And what's going through my mind is, when any of our brothers or sisters are oppressed, discriminated against, no matter what their background is, it causes a rip in the fabric of justice. And so we must stand together. And another one of Martin Luther King's quotes is, in the end, we're not going to remember the words of our enemies. We're going to remember the silence of our friends. So we must continue to be vocal about injustice and things that, are harming not only us, but our fellow men, women, neighbors. And neighbors is not just that person who's next door to you, but are around the world. And they're found in many different places.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that quote too about injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere that you mentioned at the beginning.
Mhm.
That, there are so many things going on, injustices around our country and around the world. But, thinking about threats to other cities that we might see in the headlines and think, well, it's not my city, I'm safe for
Yeah.
now. But realizing that we're all in this interconnected web, that threats over there impact us as well. And similarly, you might think, well, my people are safe today, but even if others are harmed, well, you just never know how the effects are going to be to you. But basically, the threats to our neighbors are always impact our own ability to pursue justice. So I so appreciate the work that we've gotten to do together, the way that
Yes.
you've stood by the side of the Jewish community so many times. And we first met actually when you held a Black Lives Matter rally that I was at
Mhm.
and Rabbi Muref was at. And just
Yes.
being able to stand up for one another, to know what matters for one another, is so important.
Yes. And so on Monday, we're excited that, front and center is going to be reading, literacy, education, which, it's a civil rights, it's important and it's under threat. And so even in the age of AI, education, reading, teaching our kids our history so that it won't be repeated, but it's being repeated because, we're under attack. So we're excited to be celebrating, MLK Day of Reading there at Bethel. And I thank you for opening your doors and welcoming us and rolling out the red carpet for the community to join in the celebration, no matter what the background is. We want you all to come out at noon to 2 o'clock to celebrate with us. So thank you.
Thank you. It means so much to us to be able to celebrate Dr. King in this way, especially with you and all the amazing work you do in the community. So I'm really excited for Monday and just thinking about the end of Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech where he says, um, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, Black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last. So thank you so much for all that you do. It gives me the faith and the hope, that little rock of faith in the mountain of despair, to
Yeah.
hope that we will all be free and holding hands one day. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Appreciate you. I'll see you Monday.
See you Monday.